Welcome to this webinar series about BHC21, Boosting Human Capital in the 21st Century. And this is an Interact 2Cs project which gathers the expertise of 12 partners from Belgium, France and the UK. And in this session we will focus on the findings of our partners about the recruitment of low-skilled people for training and jobs in the industry.
Good morning, everybody. Goedemorgen aan iedereen en bonjour à tout le monde. My name is Diana Pfeiffer. I work at West-Vlaanderen, located in Belgium, and I have the pleasure and the honor of coordinating this project for the past 3 years. For the coming hour, the partners from France, Belgium, and England will present you and share with you their experiences and their insights which they have gathered during this project. The panel discussion will be held by Matthias Vermeulen, a well-known learning and development professional in Belgium. The discussion will be held in English, as this was the main language which we have used through the whole project. However, there is a French translator foreseen for the French-speaking public, of course. But if you have any kind of questions, you can address your questions in the chat in any language you want. Before we start the conversation, I would like to give you some context about this project and the topics of this morning. So, Boosting Human Capital is an Interact 2Cs project which has started in 2019 and will end up end of January next year. The project gathers the expertise of 12 partners from the 3 regions with a rich background in training, development, recruitment, technology, research, and of course, project management. The main challenge which has brought these partners together is the fact that it is actually still difficult to find qualified staff for jobs in the industry. As you all know, there are a lot of open vacancies in the industry, but also a lot of unemployed young people without any skills and any diploma. So the main objective of the program was to close this gap and think and look for new ways of reaching these people, of preparing them for jobs in the industry, and motivating them for jobs in the industry according to their learning needs. So how did we do it? You will find out during this webinar. We have structured the conversation on 4 topics. So first of all, my colleagues will share with you which recruitment approaches which recruitment techniques they approach to find and reach the young people, and how to motivate them for jobs in industry. Then you'll also hear about the innovative learning technologies which the partners have developed and implemented during the project for giving vocational training. They will also explain how important next to the technical skills, also the soft skills are, and how important it is to prepare the young people for sustainable careers and jobs in the industry. And at the end, we will also highlight the importance of training the trainers and the mentors who will, of course, work with the technologies, and also will all work with this specific target group of low-skilled people. That is about all from my side. So thanks for watching. Enjoy the coming hour, and I will give the words now to Matthias Vermeulen and my project partners. And thanks a lot.
Thank you, Diana. Welcome, good morning, goedemorgen iedereen. My name is Matthias, and for the people at home, we are currently located in a fascinating chapel in Lille, France. So I will be your shepherd for the next hour with a few questions for the 3 main panelists, and they are Mathieu Gary, who is responsible for European projects at Sud Concept France. I have Alan Bailey, who is Skills and Employability Manager at Kent Council County. And I have Tineke from VDAB, who is also responsible for European projects. And with that said, we're gonna take a deep dive into the whole BHC21 program with the first challenge, and that was recruitment. And we're going to take a trip down memory lane. So I have a first challenge for the people at home. Let's think back when you were 18, 19, 20 years old. You were, let's say, unemployed, you have no degree, and then all of a sudden you heard about jobs in the industry. What was, at that age, the first word that comes in mind when you hear industry? You can use the chat, type in your answer in any language you want, and then we will have a look later on during this session. So, recruitment, and the first question is for Mathieu. Mathieu, how did you recruit young people to enroll in the training programs during this project?
Thank you. Yeah, in France, the priority since the beginning of the project was to recruit young people and to reach young people far from employment. So most of the recruitment activities were carried out by the partner in charge of managing young people, which is the Maison de l'Emploi Santerre Hauts-de-Somme, which is like a social and inclusion job center for young people. They identified the young people firstly based on their motivation and their ability to follow the process over time, because it was a long project and a long process. And the main challenges for the French partnership, and particularly for them, was first to motivate these young people, because most of them, or all of them, are unfamiliar with the sector of industry. They have many preconceived ideas about what is the industry. It's dangerous, it's noisy, it's dirty, it's polluting, etc., etc. So we had to manage that, to fight against these preconceived ideas, because, as you know, a lot of things change since 30 years in the world of industry. So we run numerous awareness activities, robotics workshops, factory visits, feedback from professionals in order to change a little, at least this image. And the second challenge was to boost the confidence and the self-esteem of these young people, because most of them are needs far from employment and far from studies. So we need to boost this confidence. They have a kind of difficult relationship with the term of studying, following studies. So we have carried out activities to build this confidence, this self-confidence, to show to them that they have talents, despite the previous difficulties they had, and to test and value the personal skills. So for that, we have managed some training sessions, games, activities in VR, and a lot of peripheral activities focused on this development of self-esteem.
Yeah, thank you. That sounds familiar, but did you have a similar approach in Flanders, Tineke?
Well, to start off, in Flanders we focused on food industry and on operators in food industry, because there's a lot of vacancies there in the region where we are, a lot of unemployed people, and it's hard to get them to a certain level of qualification. In Flanders, the job seekers don't just arrive at VDAB. They get registered. When they get unemployed, they register in VDAB. They come to us, they get a counselor who helps them, who finds out with them what is my talent, what isn't my talent, who looks with them, do I need a training or not? Do I need a vocational training, or can I just go to a temporary work agency to go to the labor market directly? But if adapted training is needed, then they entered with us. The difficulty we had during COVID, but also before already, there are not so much unemployed people anymore. So even for the training centers, there's a war on talents. So we need to get the people to the training center. And in industry, what we do is to give the same things that Mathieu said. We have we call it industry bath, so it's like a week of preparation. You can see the images of the different programs we have in our training center, but it's like a week where the students can go have an exercise in a certain job and see, is this my talent? Does this work? Doesn't it work? There's an evaluation behind it with the trainer, and also the student sees which profession would work for me, and do I need a training afterwards? If they need a training afterwards, the counselor can help them to enroll directly into the training session. What we also did, because this program is all about learning technologies, we also implemented the VR into this industry belt. It was only after we did it in vocational training, but we used the VR here to see if people who don't speak as a mother tongue Dutch, if they can listen to the instructions they get and if they can follow the instructions. It was also a good way to show how the machinery is in the industry, so they get a clear view on the reality of what is coming in the job.
Okay, thank you very much. I read something about job centers, Alan, that you did in the region of Kent. You did some job centers. Can you elaborate on that a bit more?
Yeah, so our first step was we did presentations in 4 job centres, I think, and that was, we made presentations to the staff, the job coaches, so that was sort of selling the product or selling the idea to the salesman, if you like, because they were going to talk to the adults who were unemployed. So we did that first, and then we then did presentations to potential participants. And on the first round, we had 80 or 90 people who attended. So that was very good. So, and what we did was to try to motivate them and interest them in the industry, we included lots of information about job vacancies and things like the salary levels they could expect. So try to sell the idea that if they came into this industry, they'd have a stable and secure job. So, so that was one of the messages we tried to get across. We then ran the training program. We found that we had a bit of an issue when we had an initial training program for 3 or 4 weeks, and then they would go into industry. Because, like Matthew said, sometimes they have very little understanding of what the industry is. And some of them got a bit of a shock, because some of the places are, they're noisy, they can be dirty, smelly. They're industrial settings, some, but they were surprised. Sometimes they were a bit shocked, and some, we had a bit of a dropout because of that, I think. So for the next groups, we have 4 groups altogether. So for the subsequent groups, we introduced a new session which we called orientation. And that was the first session. We would give them more information about all the different roles that they could have, the many and varied roles there are in engineering, the kind of salaries, the kind of qualifications they would need, the qualification structure, everything like that. So that was the session. And then we used the same afternoon on the timetable then for the next 3 weeks to take them out into industry. And that was probably one of the best innovations we had on the program, because it really was very successful in motivating them, because we took them to quite a range of industrial settings. So from a robotics company right through, which was almost like a lab, to the shipyard where it was heavy industry. So we took them to lots of different industrial settings, and that was very good because they then got to see where they might like to work, and it wasn't such a shock when we put them on work placement. So the visits were very successful, and I would recommend that to anybody who's running a program like this, to introduce that, I think. Yeah.